Hey lads, I'm Matt. I thought I'd change up the format today by slapping my face on the front of this video. For those of you guys that don't know me, I'm a web developer by trade, but I also like to do a lot of gaming related stuff in my free time. So most recently, I've picked up Bannerlord, and specifically, I've been trying to make some maps at the moment. Yeah, I'm just going to document on this channel my progress on a few of those projects. Most recently, my latest map, which this video is about. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing. This is my first YouTube channel, and I'm just copying this from some of the other channels that I watch basically. But let me know your thoughts and your feedback. I'd love to see what you think about it, and you know, as the channel progresses, we'll make some changes, make a few alterations, and yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. Anyway, enjoy the video.
Welcome back to another Bannerlord update. So, in the last video I showed you guys this new map that I've been working on. I put in a couple of hours of dev time since then, and I'm really keen to see what you guys think about the changes that have been made and the solutions to some of the problems that we brought up in the last video. So I'm just going to jump straight in, give you guys a bit of an idea about what's going on. As always, I really want to get your feedback. Anything to do with the map itself, but also for the YouTube channel. I'm quite new to this. And any comments you might have, greatly appreciated, both negative and positive. It all helps and it's constructive. So let's jump into the map and I'll show you what's been going on. If I rotate the camera 180 degrees, let's check out the Viking village. Not looking too different from the last time we saw it, but the keen viewers will notice that we now have this wooden walkway. I was looking at some reference material for kind of Viking towns, and I saw that they often had these wooden planks to help people walk through the muddy paths. Obviously this particular village, not too muddy, but I thought it made the aesthetic look very Viking. Just what we need for this village. So going around it, you'll see I've added the walkways in quite a few locations to help people navigate around. There's also some decals on the road itself. So you can see these nice cart tracks and hoof marks. You'll see this throughout the map, but I just wanted to give the town, you know, the kind of sense that people are living here. Granted, all the people are invisible right now, but they're there, trust me. So, coming out of the town, those horse tracks are continued all the way down the pathway. You can see here when we get to this section, we've now got these nice little sunken tracks just to show almost like natural erosion that a lot of people have travelled through here, and because of that the pathway has sunk down a bit. As we continue around here, this is quite a new feature to the map. We have what I like to call Croissant Lake. It's just a small area that used to be open land, but I've changed it into a small pool just to give the landscape a bit more variety. So when people are fighting, you know, you've got almost points of reference to refer to when you're trying to direct your troops. The water is walkable. I've tested this. You can fight here, you can fight in the water, you can also fight up the other side if you want to have a last stand with your backs against the wall while the enemy are coming across the channel. Again, it could make for some really cool scenarios. Moving up the pathway, we'll go all the way to the other side of the map where we've got the church. So the church is nothing new, some very subtle updates to this. The first one is I've made it a little bit taller and changed the sizing of these upper parts slightly to make it a bit more like the church reference material I was looking at. We've also got these nice curbs on the floor. I think in the last video I pointed out that this was a bit plain. I couldn't really think of a way to add any elevation to this, but I thought maybe making the ground more detailed would help, and I think it's made a bit of a difference. I think there's still some more to be done here to make it interesting, but I think it's beginning to look closer to the final piece. The only other thing is that we've also added these nice ornamental grates to some of the doorways. I thought it helped it look a bit more religious, for want of a better word. Moving up round to the army camp, no changes here, but as we go around the corner, you'll notice that at this path we have the original cave which we saw in the last video, but I've also extended the ruins up in this corner to have a second cave entrance. So if we go through the one that we're familiar with for now, and we turn right, there's obviously this additional point up here where where armies can defend from the attackers coming up the hill. With the addition of the new cave, It just means that you've got some ability to be a bit sneaky, bring a few troops up here, get behind the enemy. So I think one of the challenges from last video is that there were quite a few areas of the map that were a bit too choke pointy, and this is just one of the quality of life improvements I've tried to make, so that you know, no matter where the enemy is defending from, you've always got a second way of getting around to their back or from attacking from two angles. Moving around the front here, this I'd say is probably the largest update since the last video. We now have this series of staircases and wooden platforms that get you from the pathway down here all the way up into the fort via a third means. In the last video I was talking about the fact that over here there was too much of a choke point, and the only way really to get behind the enemy was to come all the way around here. You know, not really workable in the heat of battle, it would take too long. So if you're coming up here, the enemy's defending, you've now got the ability to send some troops up this staircase, up this second one, which gets you into the fort, and then from there down the hill. So, you know, it still takes a while, but, you know, we've halved the amount of time it would take an attacking force to get behind the enemy if they were defending here, which is really good. I feel like this really solves one of the key issues from the last video. As a piece, I've tried to add staircases on both sides, just so that whichever army is coming from which side, you know, you should be able to meet in the middle, and no individual army has the advantage to take hold of this. But this middle platform, when I first built this, it used to be just a single staircase that went all the way up in kind of a semicircle around the cliff face. I added this central section just so that there was a place for fighting to break out that wasn't necessarily on the staircase. So if you were holding this ridge, you might have attackers coming up from two angles, and then you've also got the fort up here, where if you were defending the fort, you are no longer limited to being attacked on two fronts. You've also got this third, albeit very narrow, place where people could also attack from. So given the size of it, I wouldn't expect full armies to try and make their way up here. If they do, fair play to them, but they'll find it's quite challenging because there are no barriers on this. You know, if you send a whole army up here and things start to look a bit cluttered, you know, units are going to start falling off the sides. You're going to start losing men just through mistakes. So I would say the way the map's designed, I'm expecting armies to attack up the main avenues, and this really just as a kind of sneaky extra flank. So if you had 6 sets of units, maybe 4 or 5 of them would attack around the main front, and you might send 1 or 2 up the side just to surprise the enemy from the rear. I suppose anyone who's familiar with the map would probably have some units stationed here to try and offset that, but yeah, it just means that people have to stay on their toes a little bit more. There's a few more tactics involved. As a commander of the army, you know, you've got to think about where the enemy might be attacking from and make sure that you have troops stationed in the relevant parts, and crucially not guarding places where they won't be attacking from, because, you know, you don't want to waste men and resource. Is there anything else? Just down here, you'll probably remember from the last video, this statue that's now up here used to be in here. I've changed it into a small water pool. This is still a work in progress. While it looks better, I'm still not totally happy with it. I think given that there's a river down here, or a pond down here, it might be nice to connect the two somehow, maybe have a bridge going over the connection. Watch this space. I'll see what I can come up with there. Yeah, it's a general feel. It seems like the map's getting there. I think there's very few new points of interest that need to be made. I think most of the map is covered from a gameplay perspective. You know, there's quite a lot going on, plenty of options for people to fight in quite a diverse map, I think. Probably what I'll be spending the next few hours is really just polishing what I've already got, solving any kind of performance issues, yeah, and just tidying up features that already exist rather than creating new features moving forwards. Nice one, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, please do leave your feedback either through the Discord or on this YouTube video directly. I read every single one. It's really helpful. A lot of the comments you guys have left so far have given me great ideas. I mean, even this central bit here wouldn't have happened without the really valuable feedback you guys gave me, so thank you very much for that. Nice one, guys. I will see you in the next one.